As it's really interesting hearing some of these stories. I think if Coach Roof ever lets one of our players drive, I'm not getting on the bus, that's for sure. But one question I've got for maybe I can throw this one to Jeff is, I was going through your guys' stats the other day, and one thing I noticed about the 70 team is you guys had 3 different streaks during the season where you won 8 games or more in a row, and you had a 12-game streak in there too. And I think that's so rare to see in baseball, especially multiple times throughout a season. If you could just talk about, what was it about the team and some of the players you guys had, the chemistry that allowed for such success? Because really you guys did it from start to finish. 41 wins, only 11 losses. You guys were one of the best teams in the country throughout the whole year. There was no doubt about it.
Well, I don't know, but I think very early in the year, we had a bad apple on our team, and we got rid of him. After maybe a couple games, Oak called me into his office one day and he said, "Jeff, what do you think about Mike?" And I said, "I don't know, Coach, what do you think?" And we debated back and forth. I finally said, "I think he's a bad apple." And Oak said, "That's all I need to know." And the next day, he was on his way back to home. And I think that kind of pulled us all together. And yeah, we were a good team. There's no question about that. But everybody did their part. We didn't have an outstanding fireballing pitcher who won all the games for us. Everybody did their thing, and everybody won a few games. And I think that's how we ended up winning the whole thing. Because at the end, we had no pitching left. And Oak said, "We need somebody to throw." And Roger Coryell said, "Coach, I can give you 5. And he gave us 5 great innings, and that's all Oak asked for him. And then we had relievers come in, and they did a great job, and we ended up winning.
Just my recollection of the years, I piggyback off of Jeff's comments here, is that I know that we were nickel diming a lot of games. We would score runs in clusters because we get base hit in a row, and had a lot of those that I remember, and scored runs with, doing things that baseball, the little things in baseball that counted. And it just kind of added up to everybody doing their part. When you needed a bunt was put down, sacrifice was made. And you need a stolen base, somebody stole the base. And it was just like one of those that it went from game to game just like that. When we were on those winning streaks, that was what happens, And you get good pitching. These guys were good pitchers, all of them.
Did we go to?
We had.
Hey, Jeff, what was the format of the tournament and leading into it? You had a regional, and then you had where was it?
I don't remember where the regional was, but
Regional was Lewis College.
Oh, is that
out of Chicago, outside of Chicago? I know I had my best tournament there. When I got 3 hits in a game, I said, "Whoa, here we go." So that was I think it was 2 out of 3 we had to beat Lewis College to move on to the Nationals. And it went down to the last game. I know that we split. I think this is all off of things that I think I remember, but I don't know. That's why I'm asking Alex to help me out here and see what's going on with that. So that's where we were at, Bob. We were at Lewis College out of Chicago. We're out of Illinois there. So.
Yeah, and then the National was in Phoenix, and then didn't we play the last game in Mesa, Arizona?
I thought it was, Mesa, that's right. Because Tempe, we played a game in Tempe also.
Or Tempe, yeah. Could have been Tempe, yeah.
Yeah. We were in the Phoenix area around there, so it was kind of fun.
Yeah, you guys dropped the first game against Lewis and then won 4 straight after that in the regional to get yourself to the national tournament.
that what it was?
Yep, you lost the first game to Lewis, and then you beat Findlay 8-0, Taylor 3-0, and then you beat Lewis 2 days in a row 3-1.
Good enough. I'm excited already. I'm ready to go again.
Guys, when you think back to that kind of span, winning is contagious. Eastern as a whole won 15 national titles from 66 to 74 in that span. What was it like to be around? During the 70 season, the campus won 5 national titles alone. Is winning just kind of contagious at that point?
I make a comment that, you're talking about national championships and the swimming, the track and field and all. Yeah. I'll tell you what, you go over to the field house, and Bowen Fieldhouse was our hub of everything. And there was a lot of athletes there. There was a lot of good athletes walking around that arena at times. And we practice inside there, and you're watching Tipton run over the hurdles. You're watching Dave Ellis circle the track, and you're watching these other guys that are just outstanding athletes. We're in Olympics and stuff like that. Yeah, it was exciting time. Basketball team was exceptional. Your Kennedy McIntosh, your George Gervins, all those people, they were just outstanding. And it was kind of exciting. A lot of other excitement went on around that campus too. We look back at the time that they had in Detroit that spilled off to Ypsilanti with the riots and stuff like that. It was a trying time, but a good time and a lot of fun and a lot, like I say, a lot of good athletes, a lot of people there that were working hard to do their best. And I think that was the mentality, is that we all were kind of like the hard work. And as I look at the football team now with the logos that they have there, the working guy, working class guy, that's about what we were like looking at. People that just played, put their nose to the grind and did their job.
During that era, was the recruiting mostly regional, centered on the state of Michigan? I don't know, where was everybody from?
All parts of Detroit. There was Toledo. I remember Jim Killeran, who was my roommate in the dorm. He was from Massachusetts, and he was on the JV team. Jerry, you know of anybody else?
Well, the guys on the baseball team, I know that they were mainly in Michigan. I think so too. Yeah. I thought most of the guys there were Michigan. I mean, Jeff tells the story of Mike and Mike Knowles, who was from Florida. I hate to bring his name up, but he was a good ball player, but kind of like he had a hard time fitting in. And I know I played football at Eastern, and there was kids recruited from all over in the football team. We were, the guys in the football team, Boston, Florida, Indiana, all over the place. But the baseball team was pretty much Michigan bound.
Yeah, we had Bobby Holmes, who was from Ohio, and somebody else, Jerry Kramer, was from Flint.
He was a Michigan guy.
Yep.
Collins was Michigan. Trott was Michigan.
Yep.
Peck, Allen.
Jay Cooney, wasn't he from Wyandotte? And
yes, he was.
Downriver, and
Bill Giffen. Bill Giffen, Merriman, Crum.
Right. Smigelski.
Yeah, we're all Michigan guys.
Krupinski.
All Michigan guys, yes.
The majority came from the Tri-County area in Michigan.
That's right.
One Ohio immigrant.
We had Peck, Allen, and Castile from Lenawee County.
You went to St. Clair County, up there in the thumb someplace, just an old farmer just trying to do his best. Try not to get behind a cow, just get the hell out of the way,
And Terry Collins isn't on the call, but he's one of my favorites because he's from Midland, of course, which is where I'm from. So
right.
proud for me to see Terry of course, and all that he did here. Maybe, you know, going off of Brandon's last question, we've got some of the younger generation on the call as well. So Jeremy, Scott, Sam, when you think about your recruiting process and coming to Eastern, how much did people talk about the 70 team and the College World Series teams and those teams, and what did that success that mean to you guys when you just come play in Ypsilanti?
Well, the people that nowadays that I talk to and I say I was a member of the 70s championship team, they go, "You're kidding me." I say, "No, because we loved to play Michigan. We owned Michigan. We always split with Michigan State. And then we went out of state and we didn't care who we played. Like Oak used to say, they put their pants on just like you do. Go out there and do your job."
It's amazing back then, Michigan would only play us once or twice a year at the very most.
Yes.
At their
Because
place.
they didn't want to lose to us.
At their
place,
Michigan.
yeah.
They never came to us, did they?
No.
No.
State came once.
Yes, one time.
Changed. They don't want to play us at our place, so nothing's
Right.
changed there.
There you go.
Coach Oakey was very, very smart. On our trips, we went to Tennessee and Knoxville on Sundays. Nothing was open. And then ended up at Carson Newman, which only had a Dairy Queen and a laundromat. So we all, Tommy Holmes and all of us, had spitting contests of Red Band, wrapped in Bubblicious, and had a good time with everyone there. TC Rabbit Collins was a great leader, and we had a lot of great ball players, pitchers, unity. It was fun. I just a lot of memories, and like I said, Coach Oak left me a lot of them because Jerry and Kramer and I were always 10, 20 pounds overweight. So he put us in that damn sweat box with a rubber suit and our head hanging out, which is as legal as hell right now. And we'd make the weight, and 2 days later, we were right back up where we were because he only did it once. So we worked our butt off in that thing to get down to weight so Okie would be happy. And I just, so many memories of, things going on there and how people got along, and it was a great team thing. Really loved it.
Rob, I know you just jumped on not too long ago. You want to share some of your experience at Eastern or your favorite EMU story?
Well, a lot of it was mainly from the 82 team. That was a tremendous team. That was my freshman year, and had great leadership there. Of course, we drove the bus down to Florida. We did that all 3 years I was there, which is, I hope you guys do different now, but and I remember Roger, he would always find a Duff's smorgasbord somewhere. He drove an hour out off the path to find a Duff's smorgasbord so we could eat.
Yeah.
And it was probably the worst food I've ever had, but that was Roger. And but just a great team, and one game away from the College World Series in '82, and had a tremendous tournament down at University of Texas. Lost to Texas in the finals of that regional, and but that group, I think, was probably my favorite year playing at Eastern. Obviously, my junior year when I got drafted and everything, personally was good, but the '82 team was a lot of people I'll never forget.
Greg, I know we're running up against the hour, so I don't know if you or Alex have one last question maybe, or one last comment each guy could maybe talk about, and then we'll go about our evening.
Yeah, I think an easy one would just be you look at everybody on this call, everybody got either the block E or the script E in some capacity. What has it meant to you, and how important has it been on your life?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. It was somebody else talking.
I was just going to say, the block or script E, how much has it affected your life and made you different? I mean, is it a moment with Coach O, or is university experiences all? What has Eastern really meant to you?
Well, for me, I was very lucky that I got to play baseball at Eastern. I was a really poor student. Coach O got me through college, and I ended up with a really good job, and I just kept going from there. I played softball with Terry Collins, fast pitch softball up in Midland. He played with us for 1 year, and Alex, you've got to ask him how he liked that, because he couldn't hit a lick. And he was really a good baseball player and hitter, but the fast pitch game was just a little bit too quick for him, and he only stayed with us 1 year. Then he went back to managing. And but Eastern, I can't say enough about Coach Ostrike and how much he helped me through. Did a lot of great things for me.
From my standpoint, not only was playing baseball for Oak an honor, but to this day, still have lifelong friends from guys on the team. Danny Schmitz, my roommate, Chink, a lot of guys, Gulliver, a lot of guys that we still hang around with. But still, even on top of that, was a College of Business professor helped me get a graduate scholarship to Purdue, and met my wife through friends there, and it was an all-around experience that I can never give enough back. And Eric and Greg, you probably know that I've been involved back on campus since I left, and it's still fun. It's still home, and that's the best part about Eastern. I still consider it home some 45 years later.
For me, it was camaraderie, people that cared. Coach O took care of you as an individual, and you were not afraid to go in and talk to him one-on-one, no matter when it was. And to me, seeing Doc, seeing Jerry, Smoots, you too, Jeff, it just brings back a lot of memories that I will never forget. Eastern was a home to me. God bless you all.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in baseball, didn't we?
Oh, you betcha. Thank God that Roger pitched the last inning in the World Series, because I sure as hell didn't want to come in on the bullpen.
Well, I'll just say my experience at Eastern, I was fortunate to meet my wife there, and we're going to be married 50 years here coming in November. So it's that was a great thing for me for Eastern, and all the things that kept me busy all year long and kept me on the schoolwork and all that stuff. Graduated, got my master's degree there, and spent my career in education. So real fortunate to be a part of Eastern Michigan.
I agree.
In the MAC, we played 2 7s and 1 9, and we didn't play on Sunday. So I can't remember how that went, but that's kind of how, and that really helped us a lot. 7-inning games were a real, you can imagine when, see, in our team, we didn't have, how do I say it? We had good pitching, but we didn't have the depth that would take us through a regional or a super regional. You know, we would run out just like that. Then those guys in the 70s were talking about how everybody has to contribute. Well, when you go up against the Texases and all that, they're a hell of a lot deeper than we are.
Yeah.
So that's the demise of trying to get through. And back then too was as you guys all know, is hard to win your own conference. Win the MAC is as challenging as the Big Ten. And not to go on a rant here, but when it comes to baseball, I don't even know if there should be different conferences. I think it should be logistical, like we are in Michigan's conference when it comes to baseball. We are in Michigan State's. We are in bowling. You know, that way there's not so much travel. And what's the difference? Because if you look at the teams in the Big Ten and the Mid-American, they're equal, very much are. And so when I look back at that, I had some ideas, and then on that last call, and I thought, well, I was sure glad that Bowling Green pulled that out, because when somebody starts going downhill like that, you know what happens after that. Everybody starts to follow that path, and it's not a good thing. So the rest of the schools, I mean, I loved going to Ohio and playing. I loved Miami, Ohio, and Ohio U, and it just seemed so much different going down there to play than even so close to us, but yet it was wonderful. And seeing those campuses and eating in their cafeterias. I don't remember the Duke Smorgasbord or whatever they were called. And but I do remember the bus. And when I got drafted, boy, did I ever have. I'm so glad I was in the Mid-American Conference riding the bus, because I was in the Texas League. You talk about bus rides. Man, you never get through that state. It takes you a day. So I was in Amarillo, and we went all the way to, what the hell, Jackson, Mississippi sometimes. So not fun. But yeah, the whole experience at Eastern, we had I don't know, you guys in the 70s, when was the ballpark built? Anybody want to share that? Ghost Strike Stadium or whatever it was called? When was that new stadium built?
1966 was the first year.
69.
So where did they play before that?
We played at the old field.
Yeah.
Where was it?
And then in 66, it opened up the new field.
That was right next to the football stadium. And does Dick Crouch, was that Crouch Stadium back then? You remember?
I can't remember. I remember it. But we just played my first year in 66. We played at the old stadium while the new one was being done. All I know is we did a lot of field work that first year to get that field ready to make it playable.
So were all you guys on the grounds crew? You remember the grounds crew? You got a paycheck.
You were on the.
Hey, you had to be on the. You had no choice, and to this day, I still coach, and I make sure my kids are able to, when they leave my program in high school, they can work on a field, because that's what I was taught.
Grounds crew.
Well, I know we've got a few more that definitely want to hear their Eastern experience, but Bob, you mentioned Oak's Jeep, and I've got to tell you, when he went into the Michigan Baseball Hall of Fame this year, I was lucky enough to be at that ceremony, and I got to meet his two daughters who were around the program quite. And they told me one of their favorite things was that when the stadium was built, Hewitt Road there that the stadium resides on wasn't even a road yet, and he used to wait until hours of the day where he knew police wouldn't be around, and he used to drive his Jeep off of Washtenaw onto what is now Hewitt Road that wasn't even a road, and go make sure that it was being built to his standard.
Rick, you
I'll,
want to share your experience or your memory?
Yeah, my memory is coming into Eastern as a freshman, being on the varsity squad, which is, okay, what the hell, who's this kid and what's he know and how's he play? I was behind Ed McLaughlin at first, but played most of my time in the outfield. There again, the camaraderie, the friendship from Jeff Peck, Alan, Rick Berryman, Pete Castile, Gary Krapinski, Terry Collins, Trot, you name it. We were like a family, and that's what Coach Oak instilled in us. You go out and do your job. You didn't have to hear, does that bring back memories, Rick? Him growling at people?
Yeah, he growled.
Oh yeah, but he brought everybody together, and when crunch time came, I guess we produced. That was one of the best things ever happened to me. I still remember the old English E, and after I left there and we moved down to Florida, my wife and I went someplace and they tried to duplicate the old English E on a hat for me. Didn't turn out well, but I wore it proudly.
Unfortunately, not a whole lot was said about the 70 team or the 75, 76 team. I knew a little bit about those teams just from kind of looking into history and looking at the record books and things like that. But I think that was probably a product of Roger's personality, and he just didn't bring that type of stuff up, unfortunately. But my time at Eastern in the mid to late 90s, similar to what a lot of these guys are saying, just the camaraderie, the friendships that were built. I have a lot of pride in Eastern, a lot of pride in playing there, and it's probably why I'm still very involved in the program now, just because I had a great experience, and I like to follow the program and have a lot of pride in the program. So we were a very local group too. Regional wise, we were mostly from Michigan, a few guys from Ohio, and that's about it. I mean, we're all very local, which I like. And I know Eric likes to recruit very locally and regionally as well. So, and I'm very glad that the Scripty is back. I think it's back to stay, and very proud of that too. So, yeah, thanks, Coach Roof.
Oh yeah, we couldn't do anything about the Hurons, so I apologize there. So if we can't do anything about the Hurons, and heck, at least let's bring back the Scripty and show you guys some love from the guys that were with the program before us. So nothing I could do with the Hurons, but love to celebrate the tradition of the program as well. Jeremy, how about you go?
Well, I have when I was getting recruited, my dad, did pro ball, and then he umpired like Division I baseball and all this stuff. So when I was getting recruited, he'd ask Raj about like the 70 team and stuff like that. And at the time it was, they used to talk about, and Raj would tell us about that a little bit, especially on my recruiting visits. And also Bob Welch and Ochinko, where he would throw those names around. So that was a pretty big deal at that time. We were like, oh, that's really cool, So that was a really that's taking it back to the 70 team and then the 75, 76 team. And when I got there, like Scotty said, it was really regional. But I have a couple buddies, obviously that I still keep in touch with, and a couple buddies that I'm very good, that I run with and I'm very good friends with. So it's a family, and it's great.
Sam Ott?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say when I was coming in, I definitely knew the history, but I think right at the time that I came in, 2007 and 2008, there were really good teams. So that was kind of the hot topic at the time that was being talked about. So I know a lot of the guys that I crossed over with, I heard a lot of very funny Coryell stories. So that's more of what I would have heard. You know, and another thing that was pretty exciting too is when I was coming in, I think the year before I came in as a freshman, they hit over 100 home runs. So at that time, they had some good teams, they had some draft picks, so it was an exciting time to come in. You know, unfortunately, during my time, we weren't really able to win very much. We did have a 37-win season, which was awesome to be a part of, but we ended up having to play Kent State, I think, 3 times in the MAC tournament that year, and we only team that beat them, but then they had to beat us twice, and so it was that was unfortunate. But I definitely agree with the regional recruiting. I mean, I think one thing that we got away from a little bit when I was playing, especially, is that, you know, early on, my first 2 or 3 years, we had a lot of Midwest located guys, and when you bring the regional guys in, I feel like in a way you're playing for a lot more, because for me, I always had a chip on my shoulder playing against Michigan State, Michigan, Western, Central, any of those schools in the MAC, because you grow up in the area. You know, not that people outside of the area aren't going to play hard, but it just doesn't have the same meaning for them. So I think that the regional recruiting is huge. And, you know, as we kind of got away from it, I think our, you know, talent levels seem to go down too, because there's a lot of good athletes, you know, in this area. So, you know, it's my thoughts.